Alexandria Bogus for the state, Your Honor.
And for the defense?
Charles Blunt and Lindsay Shaw for Mr. Curtis.
All right, and you're Mr. Curtis?
He's coming. I'm gonna bring him up.
All right, so the court is in receipt of the defendant's motion in limine. State, have you had a chance to review the motion in limine?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections to number one?
No objections to number one, Your Honor.
Any objections to number two?
No objections to number two.
Any objection to number three? Well, let me ask, is there any reputation evidence that the state is gonna seek to admit?
In a fashion, Your Honor, we will approach first.
All right. All right, I don't understand, number four. Transactions in question?
Well, that's mostly regarding the statement from the defendant, but we can address that at that time.
All right. So, I believe as in the previous trial, the defense is gonna object to the admission of the defendant's statement. So if y'all are seeking to admit the defendant's statement, we'll just have the jury step outside for a moment and y'all can object. Okay.
Okay.
All right, the fact that, number five, any objection?
No objections, Your Honor.
Number six is not allowed, any objections?
No objections.
Number seven, any objection?
No objections.
Eight, any objection?
No objections.
Number nine, any objection?
No objections.
Number 10,
Your Honor, that may be derived from any reasonable person just on cross-examination.
all right, when you say that the prosecutor has not expressed an opinion that the defendant is guilty, are you saying that, the state is not allowed to state allegedly, defendant did A, B, C, and D, and this points to his guilt?
Prior to closing arguments, yes.
So you're saying in closing arguments,
In closing arguments, they can say that we believe the evidence
okay.
indicates it,
So
but prior
that's
to
what
that,
you mean by
yes.
that?
Yes, Judge.
And in opening argument, as the state outlines, what the jury can expect to hear and characterize it, it's not argument, but it is, in my customary, that we believe when we come back in, I'm gonna ask you.
Well,
the verdict.
this is the court's ruling on that. The state is allowed to say in their opening statements, whatever you expect the evidence to show. And after we presented every evidence, we're gonna, ask that you find the defendant guilty. You can put it in terms, that way, but saying we believe he's guilty, the court is not gonna allow you to say we believe he's guilty. You can just do your statement that way.
Understand, Your
And
Honor.
I think that's normally how it's done. Any objections to that?
No, Judge, that's the caveat.
11, well, that's not allowed.
No objection.
All right, number 12, that's more towards closing, and we can take that up at closing, so I can get a better understanding.
Yes, Judge.
Number 13, I think that's shifting the burden, so you're not allowed to shift the burden.
No objection.
Number 14, what are you asking for in 14 defense?
Just to make sure they don't try to, anything that would be hearsay that they approach before they offer anything into evidence that would otherwise be deemed as hearsay.
All right. And in this court, I will tell you what makes it easier for the court reporter. If you are showing an officer or somebody an exhibit, i.e. their police report, if you will mark those as well, and you can mark those as the letters in the alphabet, if you want to mark them as letters in the alphabet and keep the things that you're seeking to admit as numbers. All right. Number 15. Let's see. Well, that's just a request for, all right, whenever you want a hearing
Yes, Judge.
on an expert, just let the court know.
Yes,
And
Judge.
if you'll let the defense know when you're calling in an expert, and
Yes,
if y'all
Judge.
want a hearing outside the presence of the jury, because I think 15 is asking for a hearing outside the presence
Yes,
of the jury.
Judge.
Okay. Number 16. Do you have any expert who's gonna say a witness is being truthful?
No, Your Honor.
Well, yes, in that multiple witnesses on the side of the state took polygraphs and failed. In fact, witnesses that are gonna testify took polygraphs and failed. So, I mean, I wanna make sure that that's not ignored or set aside.
So are you saying, from reading your number, it appears that you don't want anyone to testify that they believe any witness is being truthful?
Whether or not someone's truthful is the purview of the jury.
Yes. No, I'm just trying to
That's what
understand.
right.
Yes.
Right.
We understand that, Your Honor, and if I may also, my understanding of the law was at the first trial, polygraphs and the fact that they were used are inadmissible, cannot be discussed or raised before a jury. If I could get ahead after the defense.
So are you asking that the
I'm asking-
defense not bring up any polygraphs?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, defense, you're not allowed to bring up any polygraphs. If you're seeking to do that, just approach and I'll have a hearing on that. And in state, you're not allowed to have any witness say that they believe someone else is truthful. All right. Let me see. Number 17, we already addressed that. That's with regards to the defendant's statement. And they'll approach on that, and we'll do that outside the presence of the jury. All right, number 18. Be sure to remind your witnesses, and for you state, you're not to refer to anybody as a victim until it's proven that they are a victim. So if you can let your witness know, they can refer to the person as the complainant, or you can refer to the person by name.
Understood, Your Honor.
Number 19, you all need to approach if you think that's relevant, and we can have a hearing on that outside the presence of the jury. And there's two number 19, so.
That's bad on me. We'll do 19 and 19A if the court doesn't mind.
No, that's fine. Seems like 19, 19A and 20 all have to do with alleged prior bad acts. Just approach.
All right.
All right, 21. I don't know what notice the defense has been given in regards to that.
There's been a disclosure given to the defense from a state's witness of comments with the complainant about her then existent state of mind as it relates to the defense.
All right,
that
so
would be the
then
possible statement.
if the defense has not been given notice, then we need to have a hearing outside the presence of the jury.
All right.
And then 22, I don't see why that needs to be done outside the presence of the jury.
At the last trial, the jury heard evidence that the court ruled was inadmissible and had to instruct the jury. So to avoid that same issue, I'm asking that we approach and do it this way rather than having to deal with jury instructions and those types of, I mean, unless we're gonna, I mean, that's why it's specifically worded this way.
All right, state, what I remember from the last trial, and if I'm correct me, there was someone, I think the detective, who ended up going to an ATM machine and pulling things out of a basket that were unrelated to this case, and the court sustained the defense's objection to that. And then there was a detective who then proceeded to take money out of the ATM machine and use his own receipt. So if that's the evidence you're seeking to bring, then we'll have a hearing outside the presence of the jury on that.
There were other matters as well that the court ruled that the jury was to disregard. If you want to address now, or if we can just do as I'm requesting, and we can approach prior to.
What other issues?
Well, for one, go ahead.
Go ahead, Doug.
There were some business records affidavits that were filed, and they were filed with the detective's handwritten notes. In other words, the business records affidavit states that these are the originals.
No, I remember that. That
And
will not be
the
allowed.
way that you can get around the custodian of records is by filing the business records affidavit. However, the state chose to file the business records affidavit, but it was not the records that were originally filed. And they had to redact, and then the court, over the defense's objection, allowed them to, I guess, amend their business records affidavit in an untimely manner to include documents which were not originally filed, which were the ones without the detective's handwriting.
All right, so this is.
So that's one thing, and then the second thing is the court allowed the excuse, I'm sorry, I'm in the throat. The court allowed the clerk from the store to retrieve on her own somehow some ATM records from somewhere, and then testify to the results of those ATM records without laying the predicate for those ATM records.
Okay,
So
so-
those two specific things, I'm asking, those are the two specific things I'm asking we can approach beforehand.
All right, so with regards to a clerk receiving ATM records, the court does not recall that. With regards to the other issue with the detective writing a note, the court recalls that the detective did not write a note on a business records affidavit. What he wrote a note on was an email that he received.
Yes.
So, this is the thing. Everybody here knows what a business records affidavit is. Everybody knows what custodian of records is. No one is allowed to write on top of a business record affidavit. I think we all know that, so if that has been done, it's not gonna be admitted.
Yes, ma'am. And if, may I respond, Judge?
Yes,
And at the first trial, the state was ordered, there was one specific page that had the detective's handwritten commentary. And the court ordered, and we redacted the surplusage of the detective's handwritten note on the one record. And the redacted did go before the jury. I believe that is the appropriate remedy even at this trial.
all right, so, the court has made its rulings. Are both parties ready to proceed? My
Yes, Judge.
instructions, my understanding is the jurors are here.
Yes, Your
Yes,
Honor,
we're ready
and
to
to have
proceed.
one matter also that the state would like to bring before the court.
Yes,
The defense has filed that's what I can describe it, an omnibus discovery motion on or about 1 July. Buried within that on page 17 was notice of an expert witnesses and state's experts. I filed my witness list with him, but the experts were not designated in the statutory 20 days. And I expect the defense would try to suppress those expert witnesses. I would like to bring to the court that there have been 6 months of Kelly Dalbert hearings with testifying witnesses, Pomacall, sailors, and the defense.
all right, so here's the thing, are you gonna object to their expert witnesses?
Yes, I
All right, so
requested
then-
timely on just July the 1st, and the statute requires a specific notice, which I did not receive.
Well, so let me ask you this, are you bringing your experts in now?
No, Your Honor.
All right, then let's take that up when the experts, when you wanna call the experts.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, they're gonna bring the jurors in.
Yes, Judge.
so we'll take it up during the break.
Judge. He said, do I have to wear this?
Yes. If you want the court reporter to be able to check the record, yes. All right, let's bring the jurors in.
All rise for the jury.
Oh, please have a seat. We stand for you.
Have a seat.
All right, everyone please be seated. I hope parking was not an issue for you today. All right, you all took an oath downstairs, but I'm gonna give you an oath that's related to this specific trial, so if each of you could raise your right hand for me, please. Do you and each of you solemnly swear that in the case of the state of Texas versus R.C. Curtis, you will a true verdict render according to the law and the evidence, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, you can lower your hand. State. I'm sorry, before you begin. Ladies and gentlemen, I know sometimes people want to take notes, but I discourage note-taking, and this is the reason why I discourage note-taking. Because the court reporter is the keeper of the record. And if there's ever any issue about what someone heard, the person who will have the answer to that is the court reporter, and you're not allowed to rely on your notes as far as what was said. And when you begin deliberations, you're not allowed to refer to your notes or take your notes with you anyway. So it's best for you to just actively listen to the witnesses that are being called. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
All right, State, you may proceed.
True bill of indictment. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, the grand jury of Bexar County, state of Texas, duly organized, impaneled, and sworn as such at the September term AD 2019 of the 290th Judicial District Court of said county, in said court at said term, do present in and to said court that in the county and state aforesaid and anterior to the presentment of this indictment. Count 1, paragraph A. On or about the 21st day of October 2015, R.C. Curtis, hereinafter referred to as defendant, did intentionally cause the death of an individual, namely Paula Boyd, hereinafter referred to as complainant, by strangling the complainant with a deadly weapon, namely a ligature that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and by strangling the complainant with a deadly weapon, namely the hand of the defendant that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and by strangling the complainant with an object unknown to the grand jurors that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious serious bodily injury, and by striking the complainant with a deadly weapon, namely the hand of the defendant, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and with an object unknown to the grand jurors, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and the defendant was in the course of committing or attempting to commit the offense of aggravated sexual assault of Paula Boyd. Paragraph B. On or about the 21st day of October 2015, R.C. Curtis, hereinafter referred to as defendant, did intentionally cause the death of an individual, namely Paula Boyd, hereinafter referred to as complainant, by strangling the complainant with a deadly weapon, namely a ligature that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and by strangling the complainant with a deadly weapon, namely the hand of the defendant, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and by strangling the complainant with an object unknown to the grand jurors, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and by striking the complainant with a deadly weapon, namely the hand of the defendant, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and with an object unknown to the grand jurors, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and the defendant was in the course of committing or attempting to commit the offense of robbery of Paula Boyd. Count 2. Paragraph A. On or about the 21st day of October 2015, R.C. Curtis, hereinafter referred to as defendant, did intentionally and knowingly cause the penetration of the mouth of Paula Boyd, a person who is 65 years or older, hereinafter referred to as complainant, by the defendant's sexual organ, said act having been committed without the effective consent of the complainant, and in that defendant compels the complainant to submit and participate by the use of physical force and violence. And while in the course of or in furtherance of or in immediate flight from the commission or the attempted commission of this offense, the defendant did then and there commit or attempt to commit an act clearly dangerous to human life, to wit, strangling the complainant with a deadly weapon, namely a ligature that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and by strangling the complainant with a deadly weapon, namely the hand of the defendant, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and by strangling the complainant with an object unknown to the grand jurors, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and by striking the complainant with a deadly weapon, namely the hand of the defendant, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and with an object unknown to the grand jurors, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, thereby causing the death of an individual, namely Paula Boyd. Paragraph B. On or about the 21st day of October 2015, R.C. Curtis, hereinafter referred to as defendant, did then and there commit or attempt to commit the felony offense of robbery. And while in the course of or in furtherance of or in immediate flight from this commission or the attempted commission of this offense, the defendant did then and there commit or attempt to commit an act clearly dangerous to human life, to wit, strangling the complainant with a deadly weapon, namely a ligature, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and by strangling the complainant with a deadly weapon, namely the hand of the defendant, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and by strangling the complainant with an object unknown to the grand jurors, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and by striking the complainant with a deadly weapon, namely the hand of the defendant, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and with an object unknown to the grand jurors, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, thereby causing the death of an individual, namely Paula Boyd. Paragraph C. On or about the 21st day of October 2015, R.C. Curtis, hereinafter referred to as defendant, did then and there commit or attempt to commit the felony offense of injury to an elderly individual against Paula Boyd, a person who is 65 years or older. And while in the course of or in furtherance of or in immediate flight from the commission or the attempted commission of this offense, the defendant did then and there commit or attempt to commit an act clearly dangerous to human life, to wit, strangling the complainant with a deadly weapon, namely a ligature, that in the manner of its use intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and by strangling the complainant with a deadly weapon, namely the hand of the defendant, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and by strangling the complainant with an object unknown to the grand jurors, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and by striking the complainant with a deadly weapon, namely the hand of the defendant, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and with an object unknown to the grand jurors, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, thereby causing the death of an individual, namely Paula Boyd. Paragraph D. On or about the 21st day of October 2015, R.C. Curtis, hereinafter referred to as defendant, did then and there commit or attempt to commit the felony offense of aggravated assault against Paula Boyd, a member of the defendant's family, and while in the course of or in furtherance of or in immediate flight from the commission or the attempted commission of this offense, the defendant did then and there commit or attempt to commit an act clearly dangerous to human life. To wit, by strangling the complainant with a deadly weapon, namely a ligature, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and by strangling the complainant with a deadly weapon, namely the hand of the defendant, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and by strangling the complainant with an object unknown to the grand jurors, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and by striking the complainant with a deadly weapon, namely the hand of the defendant, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and with an object unknown to the grand jurors, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, thereby causing the death of an individual, namely Paula Boyd, against the peace and dignity of the state.
To that, how do you plead?
You.
You may be seated. State, do you have any opening statements?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
May it please the court and to opposing counsel. Good morning to you all. Today we take the next step in the journey you all started yesterday with 61 of the other best friends. Today, you start to hear about a person that you heard mentioned, Paula Boyd, also known as Paulita Boyd. She was 75 years old on October the 21st, 2015. She was from small town, Cotulla, Texas. I've heard and learned that she was gracious. She was the first Mexican-American lady in her high school to ever be voted the band queen of that small town. You will hear and you will learn that over the course of her life that Paula Boyd developed habits that all of us know and can identify with. She was industrious, energetic, hardworking. She had 3 children in her life, 3 girls. Madi, her oldest daughter. Then she married and she had her youngest daughter, Brenda Boyd. She married again, got widowed by a husband, married a 3rd time, and had her youngest daughter, Margarita Mendez. She worked every job she could. She worked as a laborer. She was a bilingual social worker in her towns. Eventually, her and her little family, as a single parent with 3 girls, 2 teenagers, and a toddler, they arrived here in San Antonio in the 80s. She worked for Penn Foods at the time in their deli department. She learned to distinguish and appreciate the distinction in fine meats and cheeses. And when Penn Foods closed down, she transitioned to our staple, HEB, in the deli department. She worked in the deli department, particularly at the HEB at Dezaval and I-10 for over a decade with their children. Now, Paula Boyd was still working at that deli at H-E-B on the day of her death, October 21st, 2015. You're going to hear from one of her coworkers about how she became a joy and a treasure to some of the customers in that deli department. When they had the samples out, she would be the one carrying them out. She particularly, and she loved her customers. As I've learned, the people I've spoken to, I know why H-E-B refers to all of them as team members of that mission. She was received that way. You'll learn from one of her co-workers that she particularly loved supporting our first responders and firemen. Station 51, that was, at Days of Valor store, was her H-E-B. You'll learn that she was God-fearing, gracious, open-hearted, loved everybody, and particularly her family and her daughters and their children, her grandchildren, and their great-grandchildren. She loved them maybe a little bit too much. No, she was a real person, don't get me wrong. She'd also, if you crossed her, she could let you know you should cross her. In her later years, she was encumbered. Some of us, when you get to a certain age, you don't move as fast as you can. You'll learn that she had osteoarthritis. She moved with a cane. You learn she lived very, very close to the H-E-B at Days of Valor, right across I-10 at Stone Oak Apartments. You'll learn from people that quite often her team members helped her, gave her a ride home from work, or helped her pick her up from work. You'll hear that in the circle of her life, 75 years, her H-E-B family, her blood family, her home, that was kind of the sphere of her life. The end of a hard day, when she finished the shift, she enjoyed her novellas and a cold one. She'd share it sometimes with those who gave her a ride. You'll hear from her co-workers that Miss Paula was scheduled to come into work the afternoon of Wednesday, October 21st, 2015. The one thing about Miss Paula, she was never late. She didn't drive, couldn't walk the distance. She'd take a taxi or something, or maybe somebody took her up, but she was never late. And so her team members got concerned. And some traveled across I-10 and went to Stone Oak, and they couldn't get an answer. Eventually, you'll hear a co-worker, Gracie DeWalt. Gracie went to the door, and Gracie at the time was worried and concerned. So she had her ex-husband make a call to 911 because Miss Paula was an older woman, walks with a cane, never late, hadn't shown up. And then Gracie went to Stone Oak. She met an Officer Tapia of SAPD. And Officer Tapia will come and he'll say he got there and he found the door ajar. And he called in for backup. He just wasn't sure of the situation. Ultimately, they went inside that small apartment, number 205 at Stone Oak, and they found Miss Paula. she'd been called home to glory. You'll learn that the scramble then, that the paramedics came, the medical examiner's office came and eventually took Miss Paula to the morgue. You'll hear from her daughter, second oldest daughter, Brenda Boyd, that it was one of those things that she kind of prepared for when you have older parents. Brenda, living here in San Antonio, was the daughter that was probably closest to her mother. She helped her mother through managing her affairs. Not unusual. She was also helped manage Paula's accounts. Brenda was, because she was here, was also the child that once she thought her mom had passed, she knew it was her responsibility to try to close down her mother's affairs. And because this was the 21st of the month and mom had passed, like most working families, you knew that apartment's still gonna want that rent at the end of the month, so we need to manage this. And so she went back to that apartment on Thursday the 22nd. Brenda Boyd, her daughter, met someone else at her mom's apartment in Stone Oak on the 22nd. Met a police detective, Detective Hines. And she learned that her mom had not just passed on, but her mom had been hurt. There'd been an autopsy between the medical examiners escorting Miss Brenda away and the time Brenda shown up. And because she'd been hurt, Detective Hines was there to start investigating a crime. That investigation took him to a service station, a Chevron station, well over on Keebner Avenue, outside Miss Paula's circle of her store, her apartment and home. Evidence was obtained from that Chevron station at 8558 Keebner Avenue. Evidence that Hines grabbed. Evidence that he showed Brenda and her husband Pete that led them to this man right here. Brenda and Pete will tell you this man was on the evidence at 8558 Hebner. They also found other evidence. Parts of Paula's estate used as stores all around the city. All around the time that the injuries were inflicted on. You're going to hear from the people who were involved in those other stores. You're going to hear from the medical examiner who collected evidence during the autopsy. You're going to hear from the officers who found it, investigated it, and considered everything. At the end of the presentation of evidence, myself, Mr. Spear, Ms. Vargas, we're going to come back to this spot here we're going to ask you to find this man guilty of the charges in the indictment once you've heard all the evidence. Let's get started on it.
All right, defense.
In the spirit of the state saying, whatever we have, we will bring to you, I'm going to tell you what I anticipate their evidence will show. What you should hear. What you should hear, R.C. Curtis, now a very thin man, at the time weighed 340 pounds. What you should hear is the police know that the murder was videoed, and on that video there were two tall, skinny guys that did it. Tall, skinny guys, 340 pounds. What you should hear is that he's known Paula since he was 9 years old. What you should hear is he had permission to use her credit card. He'd used it many times. He had her PIN numbers. What you should hear is that a guy named Barnett was around town using these cards. He never knew Paula. He never talked to R.C. Curtis about this. But he told the police, and he told a guy named Frank, be careful with this card, there's a body on it. There's a body on it. Now, he never talked to him, so how would Barnett know unless somebody else told him? What you should hear is from a guy named David Rocha, another guy who used the cards. Now, what you should hear is Rocha, who used the cards of this dead lady, is going to testify. Now, what you should also hear is for that deal, he got 2 years probation to come talk to you and tell the truth. Tell the truth. Now, Barnett is going to tell you he knew there was a body on the card. And Barnett's going to tell you the only person he talked to about the cards was Rocha. So you're smart people. So what you should hear and what you should figure out from hearing it is that Rocha knew there was a body on the card. 2 years probation. You should hear that. Now, what you should hear, if you're going to believe this indictment, is evidence that there was the crime of aggravated sexual assault. Evidence of it. Not inferences and not like gross that shouldn't have happened, but direct evidence of it. What you should hear is evidence of robbery, because that's what's in the indictment. In this long, convoluted thing they read to you for 7.5 minutes of what they think they can do, what you should hear is direct evidence of robbery. Robbery is a derivative of theft, which means you took something without consent. There has to be direct evidence of that. You have to, it's not you should hear it, you have to hear it. You have to hear it. You won't, but you have to. I expect the evidence will not show that. What you should hear from the detective is that he took phones. What you should hear is he looked at two people's phones specifically whose phones were near her apartment at the time of the murder. What you should hear is a guy named Frank. His phone was right there. Right there at the time of the murder, his phone was there. What you should hear is his phone was nowhere near there. What you should hear is that Paula Boyd was seen watering plants at 8 o'clock in the morning the day she was found by the maintenance man. You should hear he has a key to her apartment. You should hear that when HEB sent somebody over to check that apartment, the first person that went there tried to get in and couldn't. The door was locked. You should hear that when Gracie, the second person, went to that apartment, it was unlocked. Now remember, the maintenance guy has a key. You should hear from the maintenance guy, suppose
He's the last one that saw her alive. You should hear about Scotty Perez is the one who said, I saw the video with the tall, skinny guys killing her on a flip phone. You should hear that Frank Hernandez owns a flip phone. The same phone, remember, the same phone that his records show was near her apartment at the time. This is all the evidence you should hear when they bring you everything they have. That's what I expect the evidence to be, because they said they're going to bring you everything they have. That's what the evidence should show you. The problem is that leads to a tremendous problem for them. Because when they stand here on whatever day it is and tell you what you have to do, you're going to have to tell them, well, you should have brought me the evidence that makes me make the decision you want. Then we could have done what you should have wanted us to do. That's what the evidence should show you. That's the evidence they have. And when that evidence comes forward, that evidence points to everybody except him. Except this 340-pound guy. The evidence does not point at him. It's not going to point at him, and you will not convict him. Thank you.
All right, state, call your first witness.
State calls Raul Tapia.
There's a square microphone there, the sibling. If you'll clip that to your tie so that the court reporter can hear you. Would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up so everyone can hear. If you'll state your name for the record, please.
Raul Tapia.
All right, state, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Tapia, how are you employed?
With the city of San Antonio.
And what do you do for the city of San Antonio?
Currently, I'm a detective investigator,
With what agency?
San Antonio Police Department.
And in what division are you in?
I'm currently with the applicant processing unit.
With what? Sorry.
Applicant processing unit.
How long have you been with SAPD?
Now, 13 years.
Prior to the applicant processing unit, were you in any other areas in the police department?
Yes, I was on the traffic unit for 5 years, and then prior to that, I was on patrol.
Okay. And I'm going to take you back to October of 2015. What division were you in at that point?
That was on patrol.
Okay. And were you working on the afternoon of October 21st, 2015?
Yes.
At this specific date and time, were you equipped with a body cam?
No,
And why not?
they hadn't issued them yet.
Alright, so October 21st, 2015, were you dispatched to a call that afternoon?
Yes.
And what was the nature of that call?
Welfare check.
Did you have any kind of background information regarding what that welfare check was about?
Yes, I had the location of the apartment and the complainant and a reporting person.
Okay. What was that location of the welfare call?
The 12200 IH10 West, the Stone Park Apartments, or Stone Oak Apartments.
And is that location in Bexar County, Texas?
Yes.
Excuse me. I'm gonna have to ask you to keep your voice up because members of the jury need to hear you. And you can speak into the microphone so that they can hear you.
What time did you arrive at that call?
believe it was 250.
When you arrived at the location, what did you observe?
I observed the person who called to make the report. I believe it was Gracie DeWalt.
And did you speak with her
Yes.
regarding, did you speak with her regarding the information that you had received for the welfare check?
Yes.
Okay. Did you speak with anybody else?
I believe also the maintenance. Don't recall the name at this time.
Okay,
It was on the police report.
okay. And you did write a report?
Yes.
Okay. Would it aid your testimony to be able to refer to this report?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
It's just, I'm just. All right. Officer Tapia, I am handing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit A. Do you recognize this?
Yes.
And what is this?
It's the police report.
Okay. Was it regarding this incident?
Yes, the welfare check.
Okay. You can use this to refer to as you testify, but please don't read directly from it. You said you spoke to a maintenance person.
Correct.
And do you remember the name of that person?
It was Robert Schultz.
At that point, did you enter the apartment?
No. When I approached the apartment, I knocked, nobody answered. Then I checked the door, it was unlocked. So then I opened it and closed it to wait for a cover officer, and that's when I saw the maintenance. And I asked him, hey, did you unlock the door? He said no.
So you decided what were you waiting for to enter the apartment?
For my backup officer to show up so we could enter the apartment and
And who was your cover officer?
I believe it was Stephen Bertina. He was a detective at the time.
Okay. Okay. So once Detective Bertina arrived, what did you do?
We entered the apartment. We announced ourselves. Nobody responded, and then we proceeded to check until we found the complainant.
Okay. So you entered the apartment with Detective Bertina. Was there anything outside of the apartment that stood out to you?
No,
Was there any damage to the outside of the door?
no.
When you entered the apartment, what area does that front door enter into?
I believe it was the living room.
And was there any damage to the interior of the front door?
No,
So you entered into the living room. Was there anyone in the living room?
no,
Was there any signs of a struggle that you observed?
no,
Anything stand out to you about the living room?
no.
Did you call out for anyone?
Yes,
Was there any response?
no.
So from the living room, are you able to see the rest of the
could see the kitchen. And then when I turned, that's when I checked the bedroom, and that's where the complainant was.
Okay, so you saw, where was the complainant?
In the bedroom,
In the bedroom. Where was the complainant when you saw her?
she was laying on the ground, face up.
Can you please describe what she looked like when you found her?
I remember she had blood on her face, and she was completely naked.
Did you observe any signs of injury to her?
Besides the blood on the face, no.
At that point, what did you do next?
I stepped back to contact my supervisor and follow up homicide detective and the medical examiner, and we also requested EMS to make the location.
Okay. So going back to when you found her, you said you called the homicide detective. Why did you call the homicide detective?
Because once we saw her, it was obvious that she was deceased.
And how could you tell?
I mean, just from prior training and experience, and she wasn't obviously moving or responding, so then we requested EMS to confirm.
Okay. How long did you stay at the apartment?
I want to say probably approximately about 2 hours.
Okay. Were you there? Did EMS arrive?
Yes.
And were you there when EMS arrived?
Yes.
Okay. Did a medical examiner arrive?
Yes.
Were you there when the medical examiner arrived?
Yes.
What did the EMS do when they got there?
They checked on the complainant and then pronounced her. And I obviously put that on my report, the time of death.
Okay. And then the medical examiner arrived. What did they do?
They photographs, they checked, they moved her and took photographs before they transported.
Did anyone else take photographs?
Yes, it was Detective Ratina.
Okay. And did you watch him take were you there when he took photographs?
Yes.
Cindy, do you need a cough drop or anything?
No, I have some. I got some extra. Do you know how to spell Detective Gratillo's?
Last name?
Yeah.
Bratina.
Yes.
Alright, Officer Tapia, I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 1 through 18. Can you look at these and tell me what they are?
These are photographs that Detective Bertina took of the complainant, the location.
And are they a fair and accurate depiction of what the location looked like that day?
Yes.
State offers State's Exhibit 1 through 18 into evidence.
No objections.
Alright, State's Exhibit 1 through 18 is admitted without objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I publish the photos?
Yes.
Alright, officer, I'm just gonna take you through them one by one, okay? This photo, can you tell me what this photo is?
That's a photograph of the location, the case number of the report, the date and time.
Okay, and can you tell me what the date is?
The date, October 21st, 2015.
State's Exhibit 2. What is this?
That's the apartment complex, the name of the location.
State's Exhibit 3.
That is the front of the apartment, in front of that red Ford Mustang.
Which, can you describe which door it is?
It's the, yeah, it's the one straight ahead, closest to that, handicap placard, to the left of that, yes,
This one?
yes.
Okay, I'm gonna show you this photo.
Yeah, that's the front door, to the apartment.
And can you see any damage to the front door?
No,
And State's Exhibit 5, what is this one?
I believe that's the inside, of the backside of the front door.
Any damage? Do you see any damage?
No.
State's Exhibit 6.
That's just a living room,
State's Exhibit 7.
that is the complaint,
17?
That's the thermostat of the apartment.
And then State's Exhibit 17? What room is this?
Bathroom.
And State's Exhibit 18?
Just the laundry. The compliance laundry.
Is this the same laundry that we see in State's Exhibit 17?
Yes.
Okay. So after the medical examiner arrived, after they took their pictures, what happened next?
They transport the complainant to the medical examiner's office for further investigation.
Okay. And what happens to the apartment?
The homicide detective was there, made the location, and I think they just secured the apartment and notified next of kin.
And which detective was that who arrived?
Detective Hines,
Do you know what unit he's with?
he was with the homicide unit at the time.
Can you pass the witness, Your Honor?
Alright, defense.
Okay, so, it's officer, correct? I don't wanna be disrespectful, is it detective, is it officer?
Now it's a detective,
Okay,
yes.
detective. So you're the first SAPD authority at the location, is that correct?
Yes,
And you got there at that time, you found the apartment to be unlocked,
correct.
and you were able to access the apartment. And as I understand it, your testimony is, and you have, I know you have your report in front of you, do you have any independent recollection of this event?
Yes,
Okay. And is it your testimony and your recollection that on that day, you did not enter the apartment alone? If you didn't go in at first to check, you waited for a cover officer?
correct.
And how long did you wait for the cover officer?
Matter of minutes.
Okay. And that officer was Bertina, is that correct? Sergeant Bertina?
He was a detective at the time.
Detective Bertina,
Yes.
he's a sergeant now?
He's a sergeant now.
Okay. Now, at that point, you and Bertina don't know what you're walking into, so there's no reason to take any steps to protect evidence, right?
Correct.
You don't glove up, you don't put booties on your shoes, you go in because it's a welfare check.
Correct.
And once you entered the bedroom, obviously based on the photographs, you can tell that it's no longer a welfare check, it's the scene of some unfortunate event.
Correct.
At that point, then do you back out and then treat it as a crime scene?
Correct.
So, do you then put on gloves and booties before you and Bertina re-enter the location?
No.
Okay. But you do go back in, don't you?
Yes.
And Bertina goes back in, doesn't he?
Yes.
And neither of you are wearing gloves or booties to do anything to protect any evidence, correct?
Detective Bertina would have. He was the one taking the photographs.
He's wearing gloves or booties, or both?
Gloves.
Only gloves. Now, you testified that these pictures, 1 through 18, accurately reflect the scene as you found it. Is that correct?
Correct.
but things have been moved in the pictures. So are you able to tell the jury, I mean, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
Or may I use the device to make it easier? Let's start with 9. I'm going to show you what's marked as state 9. Do you see that?
Yes.
Right? Now you agree with me that at that point, whose feet are those? If Bertina's taken the picture, it's safe to say they're probably not Bertina's feet, right?
Correct.
So are they yours?
No.
Okay.
It could have been the medical examiner.
Could have been. Well, who else was there? Who all was, at this point, who all was in there contaminating the crime scene?
The medical examiner and Detective Bertina.
Okay. Now, is this how the crime scene looked when you found it?
No.
No. What's different?
I believe she has been moved.
Well, had she been moved or had she not been moved?
I believe she did.
Because, I mean,
the medical examiner would have done that.
okay, but here's my concern. This jury, these 14 people, have been asked to rely on your testimony.
Correct.
Your testimony was to them under oath that these 18 pictures accurately reflect the way you found the location. So when you got there, is this how she was?
Laying on her back, yes.
Yes, but what has been, if anything has been moved, what has been moved? What's different in this from when you found her? Since you do have independent recollection, tell me what's different from when you found her.
I believe she was closer to the bed.
You believe she was closer to the bed. Okay. What about the bedding? Like the sheets and things. In this picture, they're on the bed.
Correct.
Now, based on your independent recollection, tell the jury how it was when you walked into that room. What was the state of the bedding?
That's how they were.
That's how they were.
Yes.
Okay. Then can you explain to me how, for example, 10, all this stuff has been moved? I mean, if this jury is asked to help make a determination on what happened in the apartment, like, and part of the things you're gonna look at is blood and potentially blood transfer, splatter, those types of things. Why would somebody move a pillow that wasn't under her head, collecting blood, to underneath her head? Who did? Since you were there the whole time, who tampered with the crime scene to move this blanket here, and to move this pillow here, and this pillow here? Who did that? Who tampered with your crime scene?
The medical examiner or whatever.
The medical examiner moved pillows underneath her.
I believe so.
You believe so? Well, you were there and you have independent recollection. Tell this jury who tampered with the crime scene, who moved the stuff.
The medical examiner.
The medical examiner. So, but your testimony under oath is when you got there, 9 is how she was, on the floor without the bedding around her, correct?
Is
The
that-
first picture I'll show you again. I'm not trying to trick you, and I don't want you to trick them. You have independent recollection, and your independent recollection was, and is, that when you got there, and you know, this also shows, you talk about the glasses, you can see the glasses here, there's no pillow, there's no blanket, right?
Correct.
You're telling us this is how you found her, without the pillow and blanket, right?
Correct.
Okay. The people in the picture, you remember the second picture you showed that had the red Mustang, and there were 3 people to the left and 1 person to the right? Who were those people?
I do not recall.
Well, would you agree with me that as a, at this point, when you're taking pictures, obviously you know that there's something going on. You have names in your report, right?
Correct.
Were you asked to interview the people that were present at the scene?
I spoke to them, yes.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I gotta go back to the pictures. I'm sorry. Let's just go back to what's been marked previously, states 3. Can you see that?
Yes,
Okay, so of the 4 people, you agree with me that in states 3 there's 4 people?
yes.
Of these 4 people, can you tell the jury which people did you speak to?
I
Since you
don't-
do have independent recollection, tell me who you spoke to.
Yeah, I don't recall off the pictures, who the people that I spoke to, I don't recall how they look.
Okay, well, you can use your report to tell us who you spoke to and what you learned after speaking to them.
So Gracie DeWalt
Okay.
was the person who called.
So, would you agree with me that in the photo, what's now marked as states 3 that you're looking at, there appear to be, I gotta get my glasses, I apologize. Sorry. That's okay. It looks to me, and I'm not trying, whoever's in the photos, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. It appears to me that there's a lady in a red shirt, would you agree, a person who appears to be a female, in a red shirt, and then someone in a navy blue shirt. Would you agree with me there?
Yes,
And potentially those 2 people are females. Would you agree with me?
yes,
Which of those 2, if you remember, are Gracie?
I don't recall.
Okay. But you remember speaking to a Gracie.
Correct.
And was she there when, is that the person that got there, was there when you arrived?
Yes,
Okay. Who's the other female, since you said you spoke to multiple people?
I believe that was the manager,
What's her name?
Bailey Leclerc.
Okay. Now what about, there's 2 gentlemen. Do you recognize the person in the pink shirt?
I do not recall.
What about the gentleman in the green shirt?
Do not recall.
Okay. Now, your report, and you have it there in front of you, is that correct?
Correct.
The purpose of the report is to document the events of your work on that day, correct?
Correct.
So it says you spoke to RP1 and you said that's Gracie, and maybe that's one of the people in the picture, correct?
Correct.
01, you said earlier that was Robert Schultz. He was the maintenance person.
Correct.
And the other 2 people you think are the apartment manager, and then you're not sure about the guy in the pink shirt on the far right, correct?
Correct.
Okay. How many of, we know now that the medical examiners people came in and apparently lifted up the body, put sheets under the body, put the body back down, right? Because the sheets weren't there when you got there, and they were there before Bertina took the pictures. So did Bertina not take pictures until after the medical examiner did their job?
No, he did. He took pictures before. He just didn't move the body.
Okay. Well, the pictures that we have, you said Bertina took those pictures.
Correct.
Okay. How? Your testimony to the jury was picture 9, where there's no sheets, is how you found her. Bertina took that picture. Picture 10, which Bertina also took, the body had been moved and the sheets had been moved. So either Bertina took pictures before and after, but now you're saying Bertina didn't take pictures after. So
No, he took pictures throughout the whole time.
before and after.
Yes.
Okay. And did you stay present throughout that whole process?
No.
Did you, as the first officer there, it's my understanding you're in charge of keeping the log of who comes in and out of the crime scene. Is that your responsibility?
No.
Well, who, in this case, who has the responsibility, since you're the first person there, or who took the responsibility of logging everyone in and out of that location?
I don't recall.
Would you agree with me that that's common practice with San Antonio Police Department at a crime scene, you log everyone in and out of a location for situations just like this, so we can know who tampered with this crime scene. As you told us, somebody moved the body around. You can tell us who it was through the crime scene log. That's common practice, right?
Yes.
Okay. But you're saying you did not keep the log of who was in and out of that crime scene?
Besides the people listed on the report, right, the detective, the medical examiner, the crime scene investigator, those are the people that entered.
So everybody on the report entered the apartment?
No, the detective, medical examiner, crime scene investigator, Detective Bertina, and I.
Are you the only one that didn't wear gloves, or did other people not wear gloves?
I believe I was the only one. I don't know if you can recall.
You don't know? Okay. Were you there when evidence was collected that day?
Yes.
Or do you know if evidence was collected that day?
Yes.
Did you collect evidence?
No.
Did you stay, I think you said, I think they secured the location. Does that mean you left before everyone left the location, or you just don't know what, you just were not present when they left?
Correct. I was in the patrol car making the phone calls to the supervisor, just making notifications, and then obviously I was there when they secured.
You were there, but you
Yes.
weren't present at the door?
Correct.
So you don't know, you said you think they secured, so you're not sure?
No, we made sure they would be secured. Obviously, we don't want to leave it unlocked. And we had the manager there, maintenance.
Well,
Yes.
based on your independent recollection, who secured it and how?
Well, I don't recall.
That's why you said I think.
Correct.
Now, in your report, one is the maintenance guy?
01, Robert Schultz, yes, maintenance.
Okay. And his information, did you get his, was he still present with Hines, so if Hines wanted to talk to him later, he could, or did you get information from him so someone could take an official statement? You didn't take an official statement from him, correct?
Correct.
And at that time, the department had not provided you with body-worn cameras,
Correct.
so there wasn't anything memorialized in your conversation.
Correct.
So did you take the steps to get information from him, so if someone wanted to contact him, they could do so?
Yes.
Okay. And is that included in your report?
Yes.
And furthermore, when Hines showed up, did you kind of point him out to Hines and say, hey, that's the maintenance guy, you might want to talk to him or something like that?
Correct.
Okay. That's all I have, Jay.
State.
Detective Tapia, in scenes of this nature, are photos taken before anything is touched?
Yes.
And was that done so here?
Yes.
And then when the medical examiner came, did they move anything?
Yes.
And were photos taken after they moved things in the
Yes.
apartment? Okay, so you also stated that you're not sure that correct?
Correct.
Okay, is there another type of, is there another way that that information is kept track of? Is there another report that's generated?
I don't believe so.
Is there anything that shows who was dispatched to?
Yes.
Okay, and what is that?
That's the incident detail report?
Okay, and was there one that was generated in this?
Yes.
Can you pass the witness, Your Honor?
Just one brief question. And just so they'll know, an incident detailed report is a list of all the officers who were dispatched to a situation. Is that correct?
Correct.
But is that necessary? Are there situations where you've been dispatched to a case where you didn't enter the actual scene?
Yes.
So the IDR, the incident detailed report in this case, it's not a substitute for the log of who went into the crime scene, is it? Just because I was dispatched to your scene doesn't mean I walked into your crime scene, does it?
Correct.
Okay, that's all I have.
Any further questions?
No further questions, Your Honor.
Is this witness excused or subject to recall?
Subject to recall.
All right. Excuse me. Just make sure you're available. Either the state or the defense may recall you. And if you'll leave the microphone behind, please. And if you'll leave any exhibits you have there with the court reporter.
Thank you.
And you may be excused.
Thank you.
Could I have state and defense come up, please?
Yes, I do.
All right, if you'll make sure that you put the silver microphone on you somewhere in your shirt, please.
Yes, ma'am.
It's for the court reporter to hear. If you'll raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up so that members of the jury can hear.
Okay.
You'll state your name for the record.
Will Pritchett,
All right, and you can spell your last name, please.
Pritchett.
All right, state you may proceed.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, Mr. Pritchett, what is your current occupation?
I renovate houses for the most part. Real estate, I guess you would say.
Now, prior to going into that occupation, did you serve in a certain capacity with the fire department?
Yes, I retired about 3 years ago as a battalion chief, San Antonio Fire Department.
How long were you with the San Antonio Fire Department?
About 21 years.
And you said that you were a battalion chief. Could you explain to the jury what is that? What type of duties are entailed in part of a battalion chief?
Yeah, at that time, I would respond to larger incidents. I was responsible for about 1/8 of the city, so about 7 fire stations, fire companies, EMS companies, supervisory role, and then commanding large incidents like fires, floods, etc.
Now, did you have a certain, I guess, firehouse, for lack of a better way of saying it,
When I retired out of a station over near SeaWorld, and that was sort of my area of town that I covered.
Now, back in 2015, what was the address of your firehouse?
So in 2015, I was near Days of All on I-10 off of Beckwith. I think it was 5020 Beckwith, Fire Station 51 at a different rank.
Okay. And that's kind of near like I-10 Days of All area?
Very close.
Okay. Now, did that, back in 2015, that firehouse, the one on Beckwith, did your unit have any type of certain specialties within the fire department?
Yes, we were one of 2 technical rescue teams that responded to anything out of the ordinary, to include regular firefighting duties and EMS duties. We also responded to high angle rescues, swift water rescue, cave rescue, entrapments, complex vehicle extrications. So it was specialized.
Okay, so yourself and that group had that specialized training for such matters like that?
Right.
Now, at the time, back in October of 2015, were you also a battalion chief?
No, I was a captain at the time, so I was in charge of that station. I was the ranking officer at that station, so my area of responsibility kind of began and ended at that station. I didn't have as many stations as I later did.
Okay, so when you became a battalion chief, your supervisory roles expanded.
Correct.
Now, at that time, back in October of 2015, in your capacity as captain, how many firefighters did you supervise?
10 on a daily basis over 3 different apparatus. There were 10 of us on shift any given day.
Now, did you also have any training specifically in terms of like an EMT?
Yes, so all firefighters are EMT basics at a minimum in San Antonio. After a couple years in the department, I promoted and became a paramedic and maintained that certification throughout. So from the second rank on, I maintained my paramedic certification, which just is a higher level of training for advanced life support.
I see. Now, Mr. Pritchett, did you know a Paulita Boyd?
I did. I knew her as Paulita.
And how did you know Paulita Boyd?
She worked at the HEB that we would shop at. Firefighters, we cook at the station a lot of times, and so we would go there and get our groceries or just general supplies from the HEB. And you always kind of, wherever I've worked in the city, you kind of get to know some of the people, but rarely on a first name basis. Paulita just took an interest in us and became our friends, and so we would always give her a hug and talk to her when we'd visit.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Mr. Pritchett, I'm showing you what I've just marked as State's Exhibit 19. Do you recognize that photograph?
Yes, that's 4 of the guys from the other shift at our station with Paulita.
Was that photo taken at the HEB that you and others from that firehouse would frequent?
I would have to assume so. I wasn't there the day the picture was taken, but that looks like where we would always see her by the deli.
Okay. But is that Paulita Boyd?
That is absolutely Paulita Boyd.
Your Honor, we'd like to move into Evidence Exhibit 19, subject to objection.
No objection.
State's exhibit number 19 is admitted without objection.
Permission of public?
Granted.
And Mr. Pritchett, you said that you knew her by what name?
Paulita.
Paulita. And would you encounter Paulita on the weekly?
For sure, yeah. At least once or twice a week, I would guess. Anytime we were there were weeks where we didn't go get groceries, but when we were there, pretty often we'd see her, and she'd make an effort to say hello.
Okay, so you would converse with her when you'd see her?
Yes.
Okay. Developed at least some type of friendly relationship.
Yeah, there's so many of us. I don't know if she knew me by name, but I knew her by name.
Was there anything special that either you or the other firefighters would do because of that relationship?
A couple of them they knew where her apartment was, so they would honk the air horn when they passed by, like say hello to her, and they like this. They would just they were all real, kind of took her on like a grandmother, you know, just they'd be sweet to her when they'd see her. And
So, did you know the general area that she lived?
I did, because one of the drivers, not one of these four, but one of the drivers on the other shift particularly would like to honk, and so when we'd work the shift together, I would forget, and then I remember he tapped the air horn every time he passed her house.
Now, I want to take you now specifically to the date of October the 21st of 2015. Were you working that day in the afternoon?
Yes.
And were you working that same capacity, kind of as captain supervisory role over everyone in that battalion?
In that station.
House, I should say,
In that
right?
station, yes. And I was on one of the three apparatus.
Now, when you receive, you had mentioned previously to the jury that you would receive calls for a whole host of number of things, including fires, medical emergencies, and whatnot. Did you happen to receive a call to come out for, I think sometimes it's what is referred to as a welfare check, for an address of 12200 I-10?
Yes.
Do you know, is that an apartment complex?
Yes.
Now, now as part of the San Antonio Fire Department, do you generate reports detailing any involvement that you have in terms of a welfare check or whatever the reason that you're dispatched?
We do. We have two main reporting systems. One is called the National Fire Incident Reporting System, known as INFR, and that we try to abstain from using any HIPAA protected information. So it's more general, like we responded here and this is kind of what we did, but we wouldn't put a patient's name or date of birth or identifiers. The other is a patient care report, and that's more protected, so you can put personal HIPAA information, names, date of birth, that kind of stuff. So those are the two reports we generally generated.
And in this case, was a report generated?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Mr. Pritchard, I'm going to show you what I've just marked as State's Exhibit B. If you could just thumb through that.
Okay.
Now, Mr. Pritchard, do you recognize the documents contained in State's Exhibit B?
I do. A lot of this we didn't see on a daily basis. When you run a report like this, it'll print out additional times and information, but as I get further in it, I can see the narrative that I wrote, part of which is auto-generated from the facts that I entered in fields throughout the document, and then it puts it in sort of a paragraph form, and then part of it I hand type here, the bottom half, and then the patient care report.
So essentially that bottom half is kind of more your free text in terms of whatever you observed or whatever actions you and the other firefighters took.
Correct.
If you need to refer to that to refresh your memory, certainly feel free to do so.
Okay.
So from States B, does it note what time you were dispatched to that 12200 I-10 West?
It looks like the alarm time was 15:15 hours. It'd be 3:15 p.m. and we arrived on scene at 3:20.
And is it common sometimes, you mentioned 15:15, to kind of notate in military time?
Pretty common in the fire service.
And 15:15 would correspond to 3:15 in the afternoon?
Correct.
And does it also have the date, Wednesday, October 21st of 15?
It does.
So the address from your firehouse at Beckwith over to this address at 12200 I-10 West, is that a very far distance?
No, it's pretty quick, pretty close. It can be trafficy at times, but I mean, as the crow flies, it's probably a mile or two.
So thus your response time fairly quick, about 5 minutes.
Yes.
Now, explain to the jury, when you respond, like, how many are comprised in your team? What type of transportation do you take?
So in my case, I was on the apparatus is called an aerial platform. You may know it as a ladder truck. The only difference being that at the end of that ladder is a bucket, so to speak, that can lift people up to buildings on fire and water rescues, etc. So it's a large apparatus. There's 4 of us on board, and we respond for all the emergencies I mentioned before. Have one driver who usually has a unique rank, engineer. One officer, either lieutenant or captain. I was the captain on duty, and then 2 firefighters on the back, which is the private rank.
So, after making this response in a matter of minutes, this address 12200 I-10 West, that's within San Antonio, Bexar County, Texas?
Yes,
Now, is this a house or is this an apartment complex?
apartment complex.
Now, were there any difficulties getting the apparatus into that apartment complex?
Right, there always are with that big truck. We always have to find a place kind of out of the way and sometimes hoof it in, walk in with our gear. And no different here in this case. I think we got inside the security gate but couldn't turn in the direct parking area and then just walked from there. But that was fairly common with this apparatus.
I see, yeah, it's a difficult, large.
Huge.
So when you arrive at scene, were other government agencies already present?
Yes, police department was there.
Did you also encounter other individuals in the area?
There were other civilians standing around.
Now, were you directed on where to go in regards to this welfare check?
Yes, and it was the gathering was all around this one door, so it was pretty obvious where. And then the apartment, we had the apartment number, so we knew where to go.
So you already had that direction.
Right.
Do you recall what the apartment number was?
I don't. It should be in the report.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Mr. Pritchard, actually what I made you right here, I'm gonna show you it's already been admitted in evidence as State's Exhibit number 3. Is this the area in which, I guess the exterior of the apartment in which you went to?
Yes, sir.
Now I'm gonna direct you to State's 4. Is this the exterior, the apartment that you entered?
That is it.
And what is the apartment number?
205.
Now, if you could explain to the jury, once you're directed to go to an area to check the welfare of a patient, what do you do? Is it just you? Is it your entire team? How does that work?
So the reason that so in this case, to answer the question, we get there as a first responder to shorten the distance before someone could get care from an ambulance that might be further away. Not every fire station has an ambulance, and they're usually busier. So they'll send a fire engine, and then we go determine what care might be needed that we could give until the ambulance arrives. In this case, we take like a trauma bag and 12-lead EKG so that we can help anybody with anything there. We carry quite a bit of medication and things that might be needed. So we go to the person and see what we can do to help.
And in this case, I assume you took all of that equipment with you.
We did.
So when you entered apartment 205, did you find the person, the subject of the welfare check?
We did.
I'm now going to show you State's Exhibit number 7. I apologize, number 7. Is this the individual that you found?
Yes, sir.
Now, what were your initial observations just upon entering 205 and seeing this individual?
Appeared to be a deceased person. Sometimes it didn't appear there was anything that we could do to help her. We confirmed the fact that she was deceased and beyond the state in which we could offer life-saving support.
I see, and I assume, but correct me if I'm wrong, in your position, with the fire department and then also a paramedic, you've encountered deceased individuals on many occasions.
Too many.
And so when you saw her and made those observations, can you explain to the jury what steps that you then go through to determine if this person is even capable of any life-saving measures?
So the main signs of what we call obvious death, are the presence of rigor, lividity, and or brain matter showing in the presence or absence of pulses. Therefore, if you have brain matter showing and no pulses, you have an obvious death. If you have lividity or if you have rigor and no pulses. This individual had rigor and lividity and no pulses. I don't know if you want to explain what that is. But
Well, and first of all, there was no brain matter, correct?
no brain matter.
Now, so you said that she had no pulse. Explain to the jury what that is and how do you check for it?
We check at the carotid artery typically, at the neck, as you've seen, feel for a pulse, and while checking the other signs of death.
And in this case, no pulse.
No pulse.
Now, is that something that you did or your team did?
I did.
You did specifically. Now, you said there was also two other things that you were looking for. What were those?
Rigor and lividity are what we confirm death with in this case.
And what is rigor?
Rigor means rigor mortis, or the stiffening of the joints of the body after death. A certain period after death, the joints, beginning usually in the jaw and the fingers, start to become rigid and immovable. Later in the process, that releases. So one of the things we would often check is the fingers for rigor mortis or the jaw.
And you checked that in this case?
I did, and I don't recall if it was the jaw or the fingers, probably both. And then the lividity is the pooling of the blood around the lower portions of the body, and that's dependent on the orientation of the body. If the person's on their back, it'll be whatever's closest to the floor as gravity begins to pull the body's fluids.
And so how do you check for lividity? Am I saying that right?
Right. You just need to expose a portion of the body and see if you've got any darkening of the skin below towards the ground.
How do you expose that portion?
In this case, she was completely exposed and it was visible.
Okay, so you didn't have to move her much to be able to tell us?
No, that's the other thing. We try not to disturb the scene if it's something we can't help. If there's something we can do, we kind of do whatever we can, obviously. But in this case, it was very clearly too late, and so we didn't disturb anything.
So when you determine that there's no pulse, there's rigor, and there's lividity, then what is your next step as a paramedic?
We pronounce them dead or deceased, and usually offer police a time of death. And that's just the time that we're saying we're confirming it. Obviously, she had been deceased prior to our arrival. Some rigor and lividity takes a while to set in the order of hours probably. So we knew it didn't just happen, but we needed to have a time and just a person. Usually I would give my name and badge number to say, if you need anything, I'm the one that determined it for their reports.
So you had kind of a confirmation at that time when you checked her, she was indeed deceased.
Yes, sir.
And counsel, I'm sorry, just a moment, both parties can approach. And Cindy,
Okay.
have the time noted here, but it was between arriving at 15:20 hours and clearing the scene at 15:38 hours.
So in that short time frame?
Yes, sir.
And you said that that information then would be relayed to any police agency there?
Yeah, normally I would tell the police officer on scene, and then we would just kind of get out of their way, and they would maintain custody of the scene. So just not to complicate their, footprints and stuff, we would just get out of there, and no real need for us there anymore.
All right, so I believe you had noted too at 15:38, so 3:38 is when you cleared. So that means that you and your team are leaving the apartment and then leaving the apartment complex?
Correct.
So at least in terms of that day, you had no further involvement with this?
Correct.
Did you later on do anything to honor Paula?
Yeah, we took the fire engines and ladder trucks and stuff to her funeral, which is not something we would ever do. We saw dead people on a daily basis, but Paulita was definitely different. First time I'd ever still pronounced anyone that I knew in any capacity in a city this big. It's pretty rare that you respond on someone that you know. So yeah, we went and tried to make a special occasion to kind of honor our friendship and how she'd kind of taken us on as her own over the years.
Thank you, sir. I'll pass the witness.
All right, defense.
Did you get there before or after the medical examiner investigator?
Before.
Before. So the picture that we see in front of us, that picture, I'm told, was taken after they moved the body and put the bedding underneath the body. So that's not the way you found her, is that correct?
That's how I remember her, with the carpet underneath and the blood on the carpet. That's about how I remember her.
But the white bedding that's there by her head, the jury has been told that the medical examiner picked up the body and put that bedding underneath her. So is it your recollection that that was not there when you got there, that was put there after you left?
I don't
If you
recall.
recall.
I don't recall the bedding either way, sir.
Okay, that's all I have, Judge.
We have no further questions.
All right, is this witness excused? Is
Yes,
subject to
please
recall?
excuse Judge.
All right, if you'll leave the microphone behind, please,
Yes, ma'am.
and if you'll leave whatever exhibits with the court reporter.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
State, call your next witness.
And the state will call Ms. Gracie DeWalt.
All right, if you'll take a seat here, please. And there's a gray square microphone up there, and so the court reporter can hear. If you could put that somewhere on your shirt, please. All right, if you'll raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, you can lower your hand. Just make sure you keep your voice up so everyone can hear. And if you'll state your name for the record.
My name is Gracie DeWalt.
State, you may proceed.
Ms. DeWalt, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
And ma'am, can I ask, what do you do for a living?
I was employed by the HEB. I was floor manager and MIC manager.
How long did you work with HEB?
I was at the company for 30 years.
And you said was employed by HEB. So are you still employed today?
I recently retired from the company.
Daryl, can you turn your mic on? The one sitting on the desk. Thank you.
Is that better? Surprised. So 30 years, and what specific store within HEB did you work at?
I was at the one on De Zavala We go by corporate numbers, SA-17.
And SA 17, HEB SA-17, is that, you said on Days of Allah, is that specifically the vicinity of Days of Allah and I-10?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and how long did you work at that particular store?
I was there for 7 years.
Okay. HEB refers to its employees as team members.
Partners.
Partners, I apologize. Partners. Did you know a specific partner named Paula Boyd?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How did you know her?
When I first started with when I first arrived at the store, I introduced myself to the partners in each department, and that's how I came to Paula. She introduced herself as Paulita, so we called her Paulita.
Okay. And please describe your relationship with Paula or Paulita.
We started like becoming a little closer due to her circumstances day by day. So I would have conversations with her about her family or things that or things out of HEB and all that. And like I said, I would give her rights to go home, because she didn't have no transportation. Sometimes when she was short of money, I would give her some money and give her some advice. And she was like everybody's mom, so everybody did everything like they would help her out in any case.
What department did she work at?
She was a demo partner. It's like the cooking connection. She would demo different items that HEB would bring in.
And is there a specific section of the store that the demos and food connections operate out of?
Yes, sir. They usually would be set at the entrance so customers can, she would promote like the new item and push the item for the customer to test it, see if they were interested in buying it.
So that sounds like you have to be pretty mobile to do that demonstration. Do you have any difficulties with that?
She does. She did. She used to camp, but we were set up like the deli department would set up her cart and everything else, and she would sometimes sit there. We would give her a stool just to sit there because she had a bad hip.
And did she get along with most of the other team members?
Yes.
How do y'all feel about Paula?
It was devastating when we found out that she had passed, but everybody was like, it's like a grandmother and all that, and they admire her and everything else.
You had mentioned before you give her rides home from work. Where did she live?
She would live, there were some apartments across from the highway from the store.
And when you say across from the highway, what highway is that you're talking about?
I believe it was I-10.
Did you and her ever socialize with her? Sit down and visit, just talk?
We would do that, like, if she needed a ride, I would ask if she needs a ride, because I would see her waiting there in front of the store. And she said, yes, I was waiting for a taxi, but I said, cancel your taxi and I'll take you home. So when I would take her home, we would have conversations in her apartment. She invited me to her apartment, and we had conversation about just things in normal, like, what did she do? Does she visit her mom and all that? And she would tell me her history, her life stories, and some things that were disturbing her. Yes, she had 3 daughters.
Okay. And do you know, were all of them here, or where did they live?
She had 2 daughters that lived here, and one lived out of town.
Did you happen to know her daughter's names?
Not the one that from lived out of town. The other one is Brenda, and oh my God, I forgot. I don't recall the other person's name.
All right. She have grandchildren.
Yes,
You recall how many?
the ones that I were was only like there was two granddaughters and little small kids, but other than that, I got to meet one of them. It was Jessica.
Okay. You also mentioned earlier sometimes you may have had to loan her money. Why was that?
Well, there's sometimes
Objection, relevance.
Sustained.
there were some times that she.
Excuse me,
Oh,
sorry.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no. It's, so if there's a question that is asked and somebody makes an objection, I'll make a ruling on it. And once I make a ruling, if you don't know whether or not you should answer it or not, just ask me and I'll let you know.
Yes, ma'am.
So they're gonna ask you another question.
Okay.
So you had mentioned that before that sometimes if you had to give her a ride home, you come in, you sit down and you talk.
Yes, sir. We were just talking about like everyday things in her life,
Okay?
what she liked to do.
What did she like to do?
Usually, after work, like if she didn't have any money, so I would give her lend her some money, and I go, what for? It's just to get a little 6-pack to see her soap operas.
You ever sit and watch any of them with her?
I did a couple of times, but they were in Spanish.
Did she talk to you about her family and children?
Yes, she mostly talked about her. I think it's her middle daughter and her granddaughter and she was married to. It was related to it's a grandson because of the granddaughter.
Okay. Do you remember the name of that person?
I believe she mentioned RC. Oh,
How'd she feel about RC?
Are we approach?
Yes.
on the wall by the entrance.
Approach the witness, Sharon.
Yes.
Mr. Wall, I'm showing you what has been marked as State's Exhibits number 20 and 21 for identification. State's 20 for identification. What is this?
This is the HEB, where it was a Day Zavala on I-10, and her apartment is right here across the highway.
Okay. And so there's the HEB there.
Mm-hmm.
And her apartment.
Apartment's right here.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can you keep the microphone in front of you? I'm sorry.
Okay. And so it's a map.
Yes, sir.
And does the map fairly and accurately reflect the layout, the relationship of the Day Zavala store at I-10 and Day Zavala?
Yes, sir.
And does it also show the apartment complex that you would give Miss Paula rides to when you took her home?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm showing you what is marked as State's Exhibit number 21 for identification. Is this one of the pictures that was on the wall in Miss Paula's house when you would sit and visit with her?
Yes, sir.
And did she identify the people in State's Exhibit 21 for identification to you?
Yes.
Okay. Does this fairly and accurately reflect one of the photos that you would talk about with Miss Paula on those visits?
Yes, sir.
Tender States 20 and 21 for identification, defense for inspection, move to enter 20 and 21 into evidence.
No objections, Judge.
All right, State's Exhibit 20 and 21 are admitted without objection.
And mail published.
Yes.
So, ma'am, I'm showing you what has been admitted into evidence as State's Exhibit number 20. Let's see, Google Map depiction. I'm gonna try to zoom in. Back up. All right, so off with States 20. What highway is this?
I-10.
And What is the street that crosses east-west over I-10?
De Zavala.
And what did you say the store number was at the I-10, for the HEB at I-10 in De Zavala?
It was SA 17.
SA 17, is that where you worked with Miss Paula?
Yes.
Okay. And her apartments in relation to the map, where did she live?
She lived on the Stone Oak Place.
Is that right there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And this would be where you take her those occasions you get rides for?
Yes.
Okay. Showing you what has been admitted in evidence as states 21. Now, the name that she mentioned, RC, did she ever show you this photo and talk about the people in it?
Yes.
And who is RC from the picture that is in states 21?
The gentleman in the yellow and white.
Right there?
Yes, sir.
Right. Did you, from your conversations with her and your visits, do you recognize anyone else in states 21?
Miss Paulita's daughter, and that's her granddaughter.
And what color is the daughter wearing?
The daughter wearing a red sweater.
Okay. And one of these is, you said that's the daughter, and one of these other is the granddaughter?
The one in the red sweater is her granddaughter, and the one in the middle is her daughter.
Okay. Okay. And without saying what anyone said in your discussions, how did she feel about RC, his the granddaughter, etc.?
She would get, she was a little
Objection,
intimidated.
can we approach?
No, the objection is sustained.
Okay.
Well, you can't answer. They'll
That's
ask
fine.
you another question. No problem.
What other, when you talk with Miss Paula, she tell you about any concerns or problems you have in
Objection,
mind?
hearsay.
The question to whether or not she would talk to you about concerns, the answer to that question is either yes or no. And the objection to the yes or no answer is overruled, but you're not allowed to say what anyone said. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right.
She tell you about her concerns.
Yes.
Was there, what else did she share with you about her life? Where, do you know where she did her banking?
Objection, that's gonna be hearsay.
Sustained.
Do you know?
Yes.
Objection, hearsay.
No, not what she told you. The answer to that question is yes or no if you do. So you can answer that question.
Do you know?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Were you always able to give Miss Paula rides at the end of her shift?
Not always, but I would find somebody that would get off at the same time as she was.
Was there ever an occasion you saw her waiting to catch a cab?
Yes.
What was her demeanor when she was waiting to catch this cab?
Well, she was just waiting there. She would just wait patiently, not with, like anything else. Is like, and I told her, I was like, "Why are you waiting for your cab when I asked you to save your money?"
And you and her talked and you engaged?
Yes.
Okay. Did she ultimately catch a cab, or did you take her someplace?
When I asked her not to take a cab, I would take her to whatever she needed to do.
Okay? And on this specific occasion, did you take her to a specific place?
Yes,
Where was that place?
I dropped her. I took her to West Wood Lake Bank. It's located inside the Walmart on De Zavala.
And back to State's Exhibit number 20. Is that the Walmart you were talking about? In De Zavala?
Yes, sir.
Did you give Ms. Paula any specific advice about her business at the Wood Lake, you called it, bank at the Walmart on De Zavala?
Objection, it's leading and hearsay.
With regards to leading, that will be sustained.
Did she tell you why she needed to go to the bank at the Walmart on De Zavala?
Yes, she did.
Did you give her any advice about going to the bank at the Walmart on De Zavala?
Yes, I did.
What is the advice you gave her?
Objection, hearsay, and relevance.
Right, the objection to hearsay will be overruled.
Objection
With
to
regards
relevance.
to relevancy, if you all could approach.
relay that back to the other team members?
Yes, I did.
Now, in relation to this day, Wednesday, October the 21st, 2015, how much earlier was it when you took Miss Paula to the Walmart at Days of Valor and the you call it Wood Creek Bank inside the Walmart? How
Can we approach?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's almost noon, so I'm going to give you a break at this point, and I will have you all back here at 1:20. So these are my instructions. Please follow my instructions. You're not allowed to view anything about this case. If somebody asks you whether you're on a jury, you can tell them you're on a jury, but you're not allowed to talk about this case. You are not allowed to do any investigation. You're not allowed to do any research. Everything you need to know about this case is to come from inside the courtroom. Do not even think about this case outside the courtroom. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
And can you all follow those instructions?
Yes.
All right, and then Deputy Laura will instruct you as before. We will have you wait for us in the jury room, and then we'll have you brought back in. All right? Everyone please rise for the jurors. All right, everyone, please be seated.